All right, Brandon here. Gonna tell you a story about this one time I was representing a buyer and we got a property under contract, and then it was later disclosed that there was some termite damage. Not a big deal. They sent over some disclosures and some documentation showing like where they had treated for termites, and a lot of it was on one side of this garage wall with windows. The buyer was cool with it. They've dealt with termites in the past, but just wanted to make sure that the inspectors took a close look at it. So I was there with the inspectors and we were looking at that garage wall, and it just didn't look right. It kind of looked like soggy almost. So I got permission from the sellers to cut open the wall. And right as I took my my drywall knife to it, the drywall just like disintegrated. The termites had actually got into the drywall as well. So it wasn't hard to open up the wall. And once I got that open, the inspectors kind of took a peek, did their thing, found that there was pre-existing termite damage to all the studs in that wall, like pretty extensive damage. And again, buyer was okay with it as long as we could open it up and see how far the damage went. So the sellers were okay with having a contractor come in. Everyone was cooperating, great to get this all taken care of and see what was wrong. So we opened up all the drywall. The termite damage had kind of taken over that whole wall, kind of gone around a corner towards like the main house. We needed to open up even more of the wall. Again, everyone was on board. We opened up more, kind of wrapping around, and it was on one of the main like beams holding up the front patio of the house, and like all the roofing and like everything kind of on this one big beam across the front. We couldn't see that it went into that main beam across the front of the house at the time. It was just that one main beam, that vertical. So buyer agreed. The contractor was on board with replacing everything that had termite damage. So I wanted to go by and check on the status of the repairs. I pull up and the whole like front of the house and like the soffits and like everything are like pulled down. It was way more involved than what we had agreed to because the contractor had came out like, I don't know, probably 20 feet from that main vertical support beam. He was now coming into the horizontal into the front of the house and had already cut it out and was going to repair it all. But like it wasn't engineered or anything. When you start getting to stuff like that, and this buyer happened to be an engineer, so he was like, yeah, no, this isn't gonna fly. So at that point, we eventually pulled out. But yeah, if I hadn't have been there to just take a peek and see how the progress was going, I don't know that would have been disclosed. They might have redone that whole beam and closed up the soffits, and no one would have known. These were out of state, out of area buyers. So I was just trying to do my best to be as hands-on and keep an eye on the property to make sure they were getting what I had agreed to. And they didn't find any more termite damage, but because this buyer had previous experience with termites and how it just like, it had kept going. I guess it was like a 2-story house that he had dealt with previously, and the termite damage just kept going. Once he heard that it was into that vertical beam, it had just gone too far. We were past the garage windows and that garage wall. Now we were into this like vertical support beam and this horizontal going across the front of the house. Like it just gone too far. So he was out.